Hello YouTube, back once again with my film reviews, and the other day I saw the new movie, Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, and let's talk about this movie. Well, let me say this first: I was not looking forward to this movie in the slightest. I enjoyed the Harry Potter movies. There's been for me they've ranged from good to great. I've never seen one I didn't like, but I was really just not looking forward to this movie because it's just for the fact that every film that's trying to make an extended universe that isn't Marvel this past year has just been awful, has ranged from mediocre to bad, and so I just thought this was going to be another one of those. So the moment they said they were planning to make 5 movies out of this, I was like, oh god, this is going to suck. But I was wrong. This is actually pretty good. So plot of this movie is have you ever wondered about the author of the book Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, Newt Scamander, and how he did his original research? Well, neither did I, but we have a movie about it now. This movie is about Newt Scamander traveling to New York in the late 20s, 1920s, and then he gets caught up into a whole conspiracy involving some sort of evil creature running amok in New York. So, that's a lot of the movie. Let's get into the good about this movie. Well, let me just say this. The cast of this movie was incredibly charming. Eddie Redmayne as Newt Scamander. It's Eddie Redmayne doing his charming thing. It's not his typical charming thing for the fact he is supposed to be kind of weird and annoying through this movie, but it still works. It's still Eddie Redmayne. I find him a very charming actor. I feel most people do. If you find him charming in other things, you'll find him charming in this. Catherine Waterston as Tina Goldstein. Even though she has one of those faces that always looks like it's permanently frowning or crying, she just has one of those faces that look naturally like that. She was still really likable. I thought she shared really great chemistry with Redmayne, and you really felt for her struggle, and she was really good. Catherine, Dan Fogler, as did I say his name? I don't know. As Jacob Kowalski, a muggle who gets accidentally caught in this whole magic adventure by accident. He was also really likable, just playing the straight man to all this insanity, just always be what the fuck is up with all these people? But I like the fact that he wasn't angry by the situation. He's actually really excited. He actually does find it really fascinating. So I really like that. And finally, Fine Frenzy as Queenie Goldstein. She was just a likable ditz, essentially, just being a weird just almost match what I forgot what you call her. Whatever you want to whatever they're called. Dancers in the 1920s. I thought she just did a good job being you're kind of somewhat airheaded, just your airheaded characters. And so yeah, the cast was all really charming, even though they were all, like I said, if you could pick up during my description, are all pretty standard characters. The cast made all the characters really charming, and they had me smiling the entire film because of it. So, cast was great. I love seeing the 1920s New York and the Harry Potter world. A lot of people who read Harry Potter, that's always one of my biggest questions. What is going on with the rest of the world right now? Just Voldemort just honestly not give a shit out of it about anywhere besides Europe, but I found, and how does magic work in the rest of the world? Do they have their own council? Is all councils come back? Is there even wizards outside of Europe, or do they all have to go to Hogwarts, or is there other magic schools? I really like learning about all that, giving all these answers to questions like that in this movie, and I do always just like the setting of 1920s New York, and so I really like that. I really like seeing that with a magic spin on it. I thought that was really cool. So I really love the setting of this film. The designs of the creatures were great. There's a wonderful scene halfway through this movie in which you see the inside of the suitcase that Newt Scamander is carrying with him the entire film that keeps his is where his magical beasts are held, and it's a really wonderful and creative scene. Like a lot of the beasts are really cute and like adorable, and that was all really nice. That was a really great scene. I'll say this about the film: the film can actually be really effectively dark. Also, the villains in this movie, the villains are actually really unsettling. They're like like they're essentially like they're and I really like this idea, the fact that like in New York that like there's like people who like do believe that there is witches and wizards out there, which there are, and like they like want to bring back like the Salem witch trials and start killing these people because like, and you can't honestly, you almost can't blame them because like all these magical events are like destroying New York City, and I really do like that idea that like there are people who like who don't have their memories erased, who do think that there is something magical and supernatural running amok, and they are afraid of it. I did think that was a cool idea, and let me say, like the villains of the film, like the people who run the cult, are legitimately unsettling, and you also learn like how wizards are executed in this movie. That was an incredibly dark and like unsettling scene how they do it. I won't say what it is. I just thought like, God, that's a dark way to kill someone, and the climax of this movie was like really intense, like the thing they're fighting at the end, like it's a really effectively unsettling visual, especially the thought of what it is. Like it's really good. So I give this movie credit. It was really effectively dark, and and I also have to give this one credit for the fact they're trying to make an extended universe. This movie felt very largely self-contained. Like unlike something like Batman v Superman or Suicide Squad, like that felt like it was trying to set up like 10 other movies and they didn't even give a shit at how this movie turned out. They only cared about the other movies they're gonna make off of this. Like, this felt like a very self-contained movie. Like, it had a beginning and had a middle and end. I didn't feel like anything was missing or cut out of the plot, like, or things were just shoved in there to set up further plots, and but I will say this, though, even though it felt like a self-contained film, like the way Marvel does it, like the way Marvel does it is they make movies that feel self-contained, but they make you wanting more, like wondering, okay, like, that feels like there is bigger things to come from here, and that's what this movie does. Like, when this movie ended, I was like, okay, that was a good movie, but it does feel like bigger things are yet to come. But even if they just ended after this, I was like, okay, that was the one movie they made out of this, sure, why not? But I am it did leave me excited for things to come later down the line with this property, so I really do like the fact that this was a very self-contained and well-made movie, and I always gotta give credit to this. The 3D in this movie was actually really good. I would honestly recommend seeing this movie in 3D, and usually I despise 3D, but this was a movie where they had the 3D presentation in mind while shooting it, unlike most 3D movies that just like turn into 3D at the last second. So, no, this movie, it feels like the director always had the 3D in mind when he was shooting it. So I give the 3D in this one actually a lot of credit. Actually, it was actually really charming and really fun 3D throughout. So, yeah. So in this movie, cast was incredibly charming. It actually told a pretty good plot, like especially the darker parts, and I do appreciate the fact that this was a self-contained film. What did I not like about this movie, though? Even though, like I said, this felt like a very self-contained movie, there is the fact that it does kind of suffer from the fact it does still kind of feel like a giant prologue for the most part. Like there's a lot of setup in this movie and like exposition dumps. Like there's parts like they're like, well, what's that? Oh, that's what we call that in this place. That they do this and whatnot, or like someone will say like, who's that person? Like, oh, that's the Dark Wizard, who's apparently no one knows who he is, but we know that basically it's like that. There's a lot of exposition dumping on you in this movie, which can get annoying. That there's the fact this movie wouldn't end. Like, if you thought Return of the King was bad, like this movie has like 5 different endings, and like at the end of each one, I was expecting for the movie to cut to black and end there, but no, it just kept going and kept going, and I was like saying like, my only thought was like, I honestly wonder, was these supposed to be post-credit scenes that they decided they really want people to see, so they kept them on at the end of the film, like, because they really did just feel like post-credit scenes that were attached to the end of the movie, like, instead, and, it got really annoying. Like, I started, like, angrily, like, checking my, watch after, like, the third time I thought was good. I was like, how long have I been sitting here? But, yeah, though, so that got really annoying. But this is the big problem with this movie. This is its main issue. This really felt like two separate movies that were clumped together, and I'm not saying like on something like Batman v Superman, which feels like 10 separate movies that were just thrown into a blender and like they just basically shoveled out whatever they could from it. Like this felt like this was clearly felt like two separate movies, but unlike something like that, when it's like terrible like Batman v Superman, this was okay because they were very clearly separated, the two, but it's still like it was still a very noticeable, felt like two separate films, like because like on one side you had a very whimsical family fantasy film, like it's the story of like Newt Scamander's like just trying to get all his creatures back into his case. It's like really upbeat and silly. It's like it's like really whimsical and charming. Like there's like fun scenes like when like Eddie Redmayne's like trying to trick one of like the beasts back into like it's the case by making it roll over into it. But then it would cut back to the other plot line, which is like a really dark and unsettling drama, like that involves like child abuse and like conspiracy and corruption, like in the wizarding world of America, and it's really, and like I said, it is effective, it works, but it just feels, you're like, where did that come from? And because of this, you can really feel the movie struggling to mesh the two. Like, I really do, like I said, it really felt like anytime it cut to the other plot line, it really felt like you were just cutting to a completely different movie. Like, I really do think that, because this was the director who directed every Harry Potter movie since the fifth one, it really feels like he was trying to appeal to both, kids who were going to see a Harry Potter movie in theaters for the first time, and those who lived through the other Harry Potter movies who wanted to come back for this, who wanted a darker and more intense story, and instead of just going with one side, he just made two separate films and just kind of combined in them, and yeah, so like honestly, like if I would not recommend a parent to take their kid to see this, just for the fact I'd say the stuff with like the villains is just too dark for them, but like yeah, but then for like the older audience, I'd be like, you know, like you may have to sit through some really corny and upbeat scenes while like to get back to the darker, like more intense stuff. But so know that going in, this really felt like two separate movies. But so in total, I'm giving Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them a very solid 3.5 out of 5. I still really liked it. I still thought it was a really good movie. The only good extended universe movie I've ever seen besides a Marvel movie, so I give this a lot of credit for that, and yeah, I'm excited to see the next one whenever that happens. I'm glad this did well at the box office, because I actually really want to see these characters return. I really like these characters, so yeah, YouTube as always, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye.